Okay, so here is the first scrap rug, and that is done if you use your scrap balls. And I did use teal and white consistently through this, and then my third color that I used was from scraps. Now on this one, I used red, black, and white yarn, and then when I got to row 38, I switched over to red, black, and yellow. And then for 2 rows, and then my last 2 rows, 40 and 41, I went back to red, black, and white. And what you're going to need for this project is any color you want. This is 100% acrylic, these are, but you can use whatever you want, the yarns you want. I used the recommended hook, so it doesn't really matter what yarn you use. But if you're using the medium 4 weight, I would recommend using the 3 strands together. You'll need a stitch marker and a yarn needle, a pair of scissors. So the hook that we're using for this project today is an L 8.0 millimeter crochet hook. So in this tutorial video, I am going to show you how to do rounds 1 through 13, and you're going to keep increasing and make this as big as you want, just simply by repeating rounds 12 and 13, increasing the amount of stitches between each of the 2 single crochets in the same stitch by 1. And that's all there is to it. And I will actually show you the amount of stitches that you need per row in the video. All right, guys, let's get started on this fun project. Just make sure you always end with an increased row, because if you end with a single crochet row, it will want to kind of bow up on you a little. So you need to flatten it out by doing an increased row as your last round. So if you're wanting to make yours with the scrap and you need to add another color, then you just put 2 colors like this. You make sure this is going across this finger. Take this strand, go around your thumb, and then back around it like that, and it looks like this on you. Pull this out a little bit. Take that strand and go through and tie it. Now you're going to do the same thing at the opposite end down here. So let's do that again. The long strand goes across the finger. This goes across your thumb and around. Pull that a little bit. Take that yarn, pull it through, pull to tighten. Okay, so now you have this look, and you just pull them together like this. And you pull them real tight. And then you just take your yarn ends like that, and I'm going to cut. And then you just throw that away, and then you just keep crocheting like it was nothing. This will just blend in, and if it does kind of go to the front, you can always just push it to the back, and it'll never be seen. So that's how I add when I'm changing colors from one scrap ball to the next scrap ball. That's how I do it. So if you need to put it in slow motion, go ahead. I'm going to show you rows 1 through 11, and then I will show you the pattern of how you continue making this larger and larger and larger. And you'll be on your own, because rows 12 on you're just repeating basically the same thing you've done. Let's get started on our first few rounds. So first of all, need to make a magic ring, just like this. And I make an X, like that. I take my hook, and I just insert it like that. Grab the yarn, the working yarn, pull through. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of make sure those 3 strands are kind of pulled out a little bit, And that's all you need to do. And you may need to put it in slow-mo to see that again. I do have a tutorial on how to make a magic ring. I'll leave that in the link in the description box below. All right, so let's go ahead and put 8 single crochets in this ring. There's one, and we will be using a stitch marker. Okay, there's one. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and don't crochet that because you need that to pull. So don't crochet that where you can't see it. 8. So now we have 8 single crochets. So now we're going to pull to tighten to close up our middle here, our circle. All right, so now we are going to start on row 2. Work 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around, so we will have 16 single crochets. So remove your stitch marker, insert your hook, and then grab your strands of yarn right here so you can work those behind back here so that you don't have to weave them in. There's one. There's 2 in the first stitch. So let's put our stitch marker in the first one. There was our second stitch. Here's our first stitch. Okay, and continue working those strands of yarn behind back here. So 2 in the next stitch. And the tighter you crochet, the tighter your rug is. One, 2, 2 more. Got to make sure you get all 3 strands in there. If you don't, you need to pull your hook back out like I did. 2 more in the next. 1, 2, 2 in the next. 2, 2 more in the next. 1, 2, and then 2 in the last. Okay, you should have 16 stitches, and it doesn't hurt if you go and, you know, count your stitches every now and then, every few many rows to make sure you're on track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to work 1 single crochet in this first stitch here, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. That is going to be our pattern for round 3. So let's move our stitch marker. We're going to put 1 single crochet in this first stitch. Put our stitch marker back. It's very important that you keep your stitch marker in play. 2 single crochets in this next stitch. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. 2 single crochets in the next stitch. We have 1, 2, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the next, and like I said, you're going to repeat this all the way around. So for round 3, you're going to end up with 24 single crochets. So just keep with your pattern. That was 1, 2 for the next, 1, and then 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and we're going to end with 2. Okay, that's what it looks like now. That was the end of round 3. Round 4, we're just going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Okay, so let's remove our stitch marker. And we're going to start off with the 1 single crochet. Let's put our stitch marker back. Okay, I'm going to let you finish this round on your own. It's just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And so you're going to end with 24 single crochets. I'll meet you back here on your last stitch. Okay, so I just finished with round 4, and we did 1 single crochet all the way around. We ended up with 24 single crochets. Now for round 5, our pattern is going to be 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And it's basically the same as round 3. So it's 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. And for round 5, we're going to end up with 36 single crochets. So let's go ahead and I'll get you started, and then you can finish this round on your own. So we're going to start with 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Two single crochets in the next stitch. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And just keep repeating that pattern, 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets. Okay, I'll meet you when you get to at the last of your stitch marker there. Like I said, you should have 36 single crochets for this row. Okay, so we just finished with round 5. We have 36 single crochets. So for round 6, 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and so we should end up with 36 single crochets. Okay, I'm going to get you started. Remove your stitch marker. 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Put your stitch marker back and just work 1 single crochet all the way around. Just like that. Okay, so here's what it's looking like now. So we just finished round 6, and so now we're going to start on round 7. So for round 7, our pattern is going to be 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And that is going to be our pattern all the way around. And so for round 7, you will end up with 48 single crochets. So let's get started on round 7. Remove your stitch marker. Work 1 single crochet. Let's put our stitch marker back so we don't forget our place. and then 1 single crochet in the next, and then 2 single crochets in that next stitch. 1, 2. And so now 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 1. And then 2 single crochet in the next stitch. 1, 2. And that's your pattern. So let's do it one more time, and then I'm going to leave you on your own. 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Okay, I'm going to leave you on your own. If you go back and count, you should have 48 single crochets. Okay, now we are finished with round 7, and we have 48 single crochets. So round 8 is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And so we'll have 48 single crochets for round 8. So just remove your stitch marker, and I'll get you started. 1 single crochet. Put your stitch marker back. And just keep putting 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Just like that. And I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, we are now finished with round 8, and we have 48 single crochets. And you'll see how this kind of bows up a little bit. That's what happens when you end with just a single crochet row. And that's why I was telling you, when you decide you get this as big as you want, make sure that you end this with an increase row. And that will prevent that. Because if you'll notice, when we do the next row, we increase it, flattens it back out. Okay, so let's get started on round 9. Our pattern for round 9 is going to be 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. That is going to be our pattern for round 9, and we will end up with 60 single crochets. So let's go ahead and get started on round 9. First of all, let's remove our stitch marker and put 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches. Okay, there's 1. Put that stitch marker back. Okay. There's 2, and there's 3. And now 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2. 1 single crochet in the next 3. That's our pattern here. 1, 2, 3. 2 single crochets in the next. And 1 single crochet the next 3. It's 1, 2, 3. 2 single crochets in the next. And just keep repeating that same pattern all the way around till you get to next to your stitch marker. And like I said, you shall end up with 60 single crochets. Okay, so now we just finished with round 9. We have 60 single crochets. Now for round 10, we are going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So once again, we'll have 60 single crochets. All right, so we have 1 single crochet. Put our stitch marker in. And just keep repeating that. 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Like that. And I will meet you back at the end. Okay, so we just finished with round 10. We have 60 single crochets. So for round 11, you're going to continue this same pattern all the way up till as big as you want it. You're just going to keep increasing. You're going to have 1 row of increase and then a single crochet row. one row of increase, and then a single crochet row. And you're going to continue that till you get the rug as big as you want. So I'm going to go ahead and start you on round 11, and then 12 will be your single crochet row, 13 you'll be increasing again, 14 you'll be single crocheting again. So let's go ahead and get started. Round 11. Let's work 2 single crochets in this first stitch. 1, 2. Let's put our stitch marker in that first stitch. And then 1 single crochet in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 single crochets in this next stitch. 1, 2. And then 1 single crochet the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 single crochets in the next, and that is going to be your pattern all the way around. And when you get to the end of round 11, you're going to have 72 single crochets. From now on, when you do your increase rows, you're always going to start with 2 single crochets. Okay, so I just finished with around 11, and we have 72 single crochets all the way around. So for round 12, we're going to work 1 single crochet all the way around, and I'm going to leave you on your own from here. I'm going to put up the pattern that you need to do. Okay, so this here, if you once you get past round 12 and 13, they're sort of like you're going to be your repeat rows, except row 13 is going to always increase the amount of stitches between each of the 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So in other words, let me get my hook here. In other words, when you start round 14, it's 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and there's your amount, 84 single crochets. Round 15 is going to be your increase row, and so 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 6. And you notice 13 we had in the next 5. So round 15 will be in the next 6. And you keep repeating that, and you end up with 96 single crochets. Round 16 is your single crochet row, 96 single crochet. Round 17 is your increase row. So where you had 6 on 15, well 17 you're going to have 1 single crochet in the next 7. So you'll start out with 2 single crochets, first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 7. You're going to end up with 108 single crochets. Round 18 is your single crochet round again, 108 single crochets. Round 19, 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 8. And you'll see this number just keeps growing from 7 and 8. And then 21 is your increase row, 9. And it just keeps going on. And you can take a snapshot of this right here. That gets you to round 22. And let me show you 23. And on. So you may want to take a snapshot of this. You see round 23 is an increased row. It's 2 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 10. You end up with 144 single crochets, and then round 24 is a single crochet row. And then as you see, round 25 grows again, goes to 11, and then round 27 is your increase. It goes to 12. Round 29's increase, it goes to 13. Round 31's increase, it goes to 14. So it just, the increased rows keeps growing. This number keeps, right here, keeps growing in between your 2 single crochets. And as you can see, you'll always end with the single crochet stitches. Okay, so that's on the camera. It looks like you can see at least to 30. So let's do 31. Let's see if I can get it all on there. There we go. 31 to 41. You may want to take a snapshot of this. And then that's how you finish the rows up. There we go. I'm sorry. Go ahead and take a snapshot of that. That's rounds 31 through 41. And then I just showed you how to fasten off. And that's all you can do, guys, and you'll have you a nice round rug. So I ended up on row 41, which is one of the increased rounds. And so all you need to do is when you get finished, remove your stitch marker, slip stitch into the next stitch, just like this. Pull a yarn up. Go ahead and cut some off and pull this through. And we're going to take our yarn needle. And we're going to, I skip this next stitch and I go into the next stitch. That way it ends up not looking quite like it's the very end. And then you just weave that in. And just do it another time. That's all you really need to do. Snap that off. And we're going to do it to the other two colors. Okay. There we go. And then do the same thing, just weave it in. And go ahead and fasten it off. And then we have our last color. And then you do the same thing on the back. Just like that, and you fasten it off. And now you have your rug completed, and so you can't even see where you ended. It's just completely around. Okay, so I went ahead and added my little pop of yellow. Let's see, that was 41, 40, 39, 38, row 38. I added my pop of color. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.